Not long ago, within my lifetime anyway, most ghost stories were relegated to campfire tales, comic books, or really bad B movies. Most people were afraid to come forward and discuss the experiences that they had with spirits because they were afraid of being ridiculed or mocked. But today, even well known celebrities are willing to come forward on reality based TV shows and talk about their experiences with ghosts. Do you believe in ghosts? In this video, I'm going to share with you a few of my own experiences with ghosts, explain to you why they may linger on this plane, and give you a few tips just in case you encounter one. Hello friends, I'm Wendy Rapp, spiritual life coach and intuitive reader. On this channel, I help you as a spiritually awakened person grow and evolve on your soul's journey. Most of us love to hear stories of things that go bump in the night. But for those of us who are psychically open, like myself, those experiences are part of our daily living. When I was about 3 years old, I had a friend who my family couldn't see, but I could, a little girl named Sarah, who wore different clothes. They were not the clothes that I was wearing at that time. She seemed a little out of place, but I had a good time playing with my little friend Sarah. My mother would always indulge me when Sarah was playing with me or visiting me. If I asked for something for Sarah to eat, my mother would split whatever I was eating in half and give a plate for Sarah and a plate for me. My sisters, however, mocked and ridiculed me and would make fun of me, and I didn't really understand why they were making fun of this. It wasn't until I was 5 years old and my mother passed. When she passed, I continued to see her. I would see her in the middle of the day watching over us kids. She left 4 children behind, ages 13 through 2. I was 5 at the time. And my mother kept an eye on us. When I would get excited and point her out to my sisters, they would just mock and make fun of what I said I was seeing. So I began to realize not everybody can see what I'm seeing. At that time, I really didn't have a problem with seeing spirits. Of course, the only two that I was seeing at that point were my friend Sarah and my mother. But when I was about 7 years old, that began to change, and I began to feel, let's just say, other spirits. Not that they were negative, but they were not my mother, and they were not Sarah, and they were visiting me in the middle of the night, and I could see them standing at the foot of my bed. And that began to scare me. That combined with what I was being taught within my religion, that spirits are not truly dead people, they're actually demons. That's what the Jehovah's Witnesses believe. That began to scare me, so I began to try to pray it away. I would pull the covers over my head and pray to God to please take this away. It quieted down for a while, but after my father passed when I was about 40 and I began to see him, that's when the activity began to kick back up again. When my father passed, within the week or two of his passing, and again in the middle of the day, I would see my father sitting at the dining room table. I would see my father walking towards me in the house, and within a moment he would be gone. But it always left me with a very loving vibration, a very good feeling, and of course the feeling of missing him. I wasn't frightened by that. That was about the same time that I decided to leave the Jehovah's Witness religion. When I did that and I began to open up and to explore new forms of spirituality, the psychic senses really kicked into high gear for me. Within a few years of my father's passing, I moved back to New Jersey. I was living in Long Beach, California at the time. I moved back to New Jersey, and I got an apartment in a very active apartment building. Now, that apartment building had at one time in the 30s, I think 20s and 30s, 1920s and 30s, it had been a rooming house. And I got an apartment there, and really within days of being there, my cats, I had 2 cats at the time, they and I would hear things in that apartment. We would hear someone, we'd be up in the living room, and at the back of the house was the bedroom, and we'd hear the closet door opening and shutting. We would hear dresser drawers opening and shutting. Um, there were times in the middle of the night I would wake up and that closet door, which I knew I'd shut and it had latched, was wide open, and the overhead light would be on. So I knew something was there, put it that way. Now, remember, I was not really psychically open at that time. I was just in the process of beginning my development at that point. And one night, I was sleeping, and it felt like someone said to me, "Wake up." I didn't hear them say it, but that sensation of being jolted awake, as if somebody's trying to get your attention. And it just so happened I was laying on my side. When I opened my eyes, not 2 or 3 feet off the edge, right off the edge of the bed, there's a spirit. And I wasn't actually sure what it was at the time. It really scared me. He was a neon outline of someone that looked like a Martian or something. I mean, it was really weird. I have a picture. If you saw something that looked like that at the side of your bed at night, it would scare the bejesus out of you too. But it turns out the person whose energy was coming in was a volunteer firefighter, and he died, unfortunately, I think in the 30s or 40s in a fire. And that is the outfit he was wearing. It's a scary looking outfit. It's scary even if it's not a spirit, but it terrified me. And I remember shutting my eyes and pretending to be asleep and thinking, oh my God, if it reaches out and touches me, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, I can't take this. Next thing I knew, I woke up the next morning. I must have been very tired, and I had to get ready for work. And I'm getting ready for work, and I remember thinking to myself, well, was that really something that I saw there, or was I kind of dreaming it? And if it was someone, I wonder who it was. And just as soon as I was thinking that to myself, I heard in my ear the name Robert. Well, I did a little investigation, and I spoke to some people who had lived in that particular apartment building for quite some time. And I mentioned what I saw and the way he was dressed, and I found out that there was indeed someone back in like the 40s or something, 30s, 40s, named Robert, who lived in that apartment, who was a volunteer firefighter and died fighting a fire. Well, that changed the way I see spirit or saw ghosts. When you think of somebody who gave their life to help others and they felt trapped on this plane, you go from a feeling fearful of that energy being in your home to feeling greater empathy. Now I was also opening up more and more, and I wanted to help that soul release and move on. So I was doing the work I needed to do and reading all the books I needed to read to help that person move on. At this point, I do still continue to see spirits and hear them and know when they're around me. But because I have my angels and guides for protection, usually when they come into me, it's for me to do something to help them make a transition and move forward. And I'm so happy to be able to do that for them. It's a very, you feel good that you're able to help somebody on their path. It's not a frightening experience. I've never had any kind of a spirit come in and hurt me, or tug at my hair, or scratch me, or any other such thing. But if you are someone who's in love, or in the divine love, and you emanate that love and compassion for others, that's the kind of spirit you're going to draw in. You're going to draw in a like energy. I don't do anything to open myself in any way to any kinds of energies around me that may be negative, and that's important. So what is a ghost? A ghost is the soul of a person who has passed on. They stay behind, the soul, the spirit will stay behind for many different reasons. Sometimes it's a traumatic and sudden passing. Sometimes that soul feels that they have work they have to finish up here. Sometimes they're holding on because there are loved ones who are left behind. They're worried about them. They want to stay and watch over them. So the reasons vary. And contrary to popular belief, spirits don't just make their appearance known at 3 a.m. and in a dark room. I have seen spirits in broad daylight, as I said, with my mother and my father. I have even had encounters with them around town. They show up in the unlikeliest of places and in the middle of the day as well as in the middle of the night. They're really everywhere. If you're open and aware, you will recognize that. And in all my years of being open and seeing spirits, which is basically since I was 3 years old, I've never run into an energy that I would call negative or demonic. Most of the spirits are simply souls of people who are lost, who are looking for help, and I'm very open to helping them. They've never hurt me. I also put it out to my angels and guides that they're not allowed to hurt me. Now, when some people go into a room and they feel the spirit present in the room, the first thing I hear them say is, "Oh my God, I feel something, it's so negative." Well, chances are pretty good it's not a negative spirit, because I've been in rooms with people who've said that and I'm not experiencing it as a negative energy. What you may be experiencing is an energy different than your own. Souls who are still here on this plane have a different vibration than we do. And if you're sensitive, you're going to sense that vibration. If you're not used to that vibration, it may feel a little uncomfortable for you. And people automatically go to, if it's uncomfortable, it's got to be negative. Nothing could be further from the truth. It's simply different. So here are a few tips for you if you ever should have an encounter with a ghost. The first thing is, if you ever feel a spirit energy in the room with you, a ghostly energy, or see or experience a noise, or if you actually see something, always start by surrounding yourself in the white light. Surround yourself in the white light. It serves as a protection for you. It does help to ground and center yourself as well, so that you're not nervous or upset by the energy. Call in Archangel Michael and Archangel Raphael for your own protection and to keep yourself calm, but it also provides healing for the spirits, so perhaps that they can move on through that energy. Those angels will help them move on. And if you feel you have a spirit in your home, well, the best thing to do is to ask it to leave. Now, don't be afraid to do that. You have to take ownership of your own space. But again, I understand that it can be unnerving and it can scare you. The idea of speaking to a spirit, can scare you. Don't yell or curse at the spirit. That's only going to make matters worse, because you may be somebody that they see as an intruder in their home. So instead, talk to them in a peaceful and calm manner and let them know this is your home now and their home is with the divine, and talk to them and tell them they need to leave. Now, if you feel they're really not going, then you do have to take ownership of your home and tell them they must leave. And again, it's important to protect yourself in the white light. Call in Archangel Michael, call in Archangel Raphael, your angels and guides, and order them out. And then tell those archangels, this energy must go. They're not allowed to dwell here. They can go find somewhere else, but they're not allowed to dwell here. If they don't want to go to the light, not here. If you're afraid to confront a spirit on your own, not quite sure you're going to do it the right way, well, there are people probably in your area. You need to look it up or ask people that you might know who are readers who could help you with that. If you're in the New York, New Jersey area, I have a friend. His name is Roland BuddhaHawk, and his contact information is in the description below. Roland is a very, very loving and dear soul, and he's also a very powerful energy worker. He's very good at lovingly clearing these energies out of your home for you. So if you're having a problem, give Roland a call. It's in the description box. And lastly, really, I don't understand why Ouija boards are sold as a toy, because they're really not. They can be a very dangerous tool for people who don't understand spirit energy, protection. So please, whatever you do, don't play with Ouija boards. They're not a game. You really need to know what you're doing if you're going to use a spirit board, and you need to know how to clear the energies, and you need to know how to keep yourself protected and safe. Um, they really can be a portal to opening the door for anyone and anything. I mean, you wouldn't go to your front door, leave it open at 3 o'clock in the morning and say, anybody out there, come on in. That's basically what you're doing when you play with a Ouija board, so don't do it. And keep in mind that we are spirits having a human experience. We have spirits around us all the time, whether it's our spirit guides and angels, pets and people that we love who've passed on. We are surrounded by spirits. So there really is nothing to be afraid of. When you fill yourself with compassion for these energies who may still be stuck here, it helps them, it helps to heal them to move on. Even if you don't know how to do it, just putting the intention out that they need to go where they belong and be in peace, and they will find happiness and joy in that space, and healing will help to lift their vibration so they can move on to the divine. I hope that information was helpful for you. Thank you so much for joining me here today. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. I upload a new video every Sunday, and I'd love to have you join me here. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave it in the comments section below, because I'd love to hear from you, and I'd love to answer any questions you may have. You can link up with me on social media. The links are below in the description box. And as always, remember, you are a spark of the divine. Share your light with the world. Blessings.